You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the May 5th meeting for the Michigan City Common Council. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good evening and welcome to the Michigan City Common Council meeting. Today is Tuesday, May 5th, 2026. I would ask if you would all please silence all electronic devices and please join the council in the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silent prayer, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic who stands one nation indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we begin on our agenda, I would first like to say thank you for all of those who have came out this evening on the eve of election day, and at 6:00 p.m. all election voters, I hope you all have cast your votes and that we have not prohibited any regulations in regards to holding our city council meeting on an election day, due to that this is not actually a federal holiday. So we are able to continue to conduct business as normal for this evening. I would ask Madam Clerk, if you would please begin with roll call.
Mr. Beatry,
Present.
Mr. Coulter,
Present.
Mr. Dabney,
Present.
Dr. Cora,
Present.
Ms. Lee, present, Ms. Moldenhauer,
Present.
Mr. Nelson,
Present.
Mr. Prespolinski,
Present.
Ms. Tillman,
Present.
9 present, 0 absent.
Thank you. We do have a quorum and we will move forward with our meeting. Approval of minutes, our regular council hybrid Zoom, April 21st, 2026. Did the council members have an opportunity to review and make any necessary corrections or changes if necessary?
Motion.
If there are none, may I please entertain a motion?
Motion to approve. Support.
Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Mr. Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Beatry,
Aye.
Mr. Coulter,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Dr. Cora,
Aye.
Ms. Lee, Ms. Moldenhauer,
Aye.
Mr. Nelson,
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
And the regular council hybrid Zoom, April 21st, 2026 minutes have been approved. Next, we are on our reports of standing committees, starting with our Finance Committee meeting.
Okay, thank you, Madam President.
Dabney?
Yes. All right, Finance Committee meeting was called tonight, May 15, 2026, by Chairman Dabney at 6:09 p.m. To review and approve claims since the last meeting. Committee members, Councilman Dr. Cora, Councilman Beatry, and City Controller Tamiko Smith were all present. Claims reviewed were $229,357.93 from the Riverboat Fund, $0 from Boyd Development Fund, and $0 from the Rainy Day Fund, for a total claim docket of $229,357.93. Committee Chair Dabney asked the other committee members if there were questions about any of the additional appropriations in tonight's docket. There were none. Councilman Beatry moved to recommend approval of the docket with a second from Councilman Dr. Cora. The motion was approved unanimously. There were no comments following. Finally, on a motion by Councilman Dr. Cora and a second by Councilman Beatry, the meeting was adjourned at 6:14 p.m. And I will review here the details of that said docket. From the Riverboat Fund, we had LaPorte Chrysler Inc. for $7,053.93. And this is for monthly vehicle lease. Motorola Solutions, Inc. for $34,294 even. And this is for radios that we are now in a lease to purchase agreement. And then Sutton Ford, Inc. We had 4 separate invoices, but I totaled them here for a total of $188,101 even. And this will be the purchase of police vehicles. And once again, from the Boyd Development Fund, there were no claims, and from the Rainy Day Fund, there were also no claims. So a total docket, once again, of $229,357.93. And then we discussed the 2026 Riverboat and Rainy Day Fund, a statement of cash position. In the Riverboat, we have $4,666,662.09. From the Rainy Day Fund, we have $1,321,810.42, for a total amongst the two, $5,988,472.51. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman Dabney. May I entertain a motion for the approval of May 5th, 2026 claims?
So moved. Second.
Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice,
Aye.
Mr. Poulter,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Dr. Cora,
Aye.
Ms. Lee. Aye. Ms. Moldenhauer,
Aye.
Mr. Nelson,
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski,
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you. And those claims for May 5th, 2026 has been approved. Moving on to reports from boards and commissions. Do we have any reports from boards and commission? Councilwoman Moldenauer?
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to make a very brief announcement that this Saturday from 1 to 2:30 p.m., the Michigan City Sustainability Commission, along with many other departments here in City Hall, we're going to be holding a workshop called Plant Smart, Do Your Part. And this is going to be a hands-on pollinator garden planning workshop with Leslie Shad and Kathy Sipple. And they have many decades of experience between them regarding designing gardens for native plants and also being able to identify invasive species and knowing what to plant where. You're going to actually have a hands-on experience. You're going to be able to take probably a couple plants, if not more, home with you, so you can plant them there. Or, if you have other places like a business or a school or whatever, of course, with permission, you could do it there. There are flyers out in the lobby there. Please grab them and invite other people to come. I think it's going to be a very enjoyable afternoon at the Senior Center. Again, that's Saturday from 1 to 2:30 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Moldenauer. Councilman Prisbalinski?
Yes, 2 announcements that I have. And the first one is the most important one. Is that this Thursday night at 5:30 at the FOP is we're going to be honoring our Human Rights Recipient of the Year, Dr. Cora. And tickets are on sale. Well, anyway, it's at 5:30 at the FOP. And you can purchase a ticket at the controller's office. Tickets are $30 at the controller's office. And number 2, if you need any mulch around the house, or maybe if the city needs mulch to do things out in the parks, the LaPorte County Recycling Solid Waste District is giving away mulch for free. And all you have to do is bring your own containers and they will load your truck or trailer. And this is Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And it's Saturdays. It begins on April the 18th. And the Solid Waste District, the site is out by the LaPorte County Fairgrounds. So you can get free mulch. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Prisbalinski. Are there any more reports from boards and commissions? If there are none, moving on to our reports of special or select committees. Do I have any reports of special or select committees? Are there any reports of special or select committees? There are none. Reports from mayor or other city officers and departments.
Good evening, council,
Good evening.
fire chief. I give you our monthly data from April. I'm working on breaking these down. Like I said, I'm breaking these down a little better and figuring out a little more what we got going on, how they get put in the system. So for the month of April, we had a total of 415 calls for service. 9 of those were fire calls. 6 of those were outside fires, which consisted of like some grass fires, burning violations. One of them was a utility pole, so dumpster. We did have 3. We were toned out, dispatched for 3 structure fires. One of those was an actual structure fire on Gladys. I believe that was on April the 16th. I believe that one was. What was that? Was it the 23rd? Was it okay? The 23rd. I was a week off. I'm sorry. And then we had 24 hazardous conditions. 10 of those were lines down, things of that nature. Hazardous situations. That was a hazard with non-chemical. Hazardous materials. It's listed as hazardous materials. Would be gas leaks. We had 13 gas leaks, and then one was just a hazardous situation. It was just an investigation. Turned out to be nothing. We had 268 medical calls. 209 of those were illnesses. 52 were injuries or traumas, such as car accidents, shootings, people falling. 7 of those just fell under other, which would be like medical alarms where somebody hit their little pendant or buttons or something. 35 public service calls, citizens assist. One of those was actually a drone on a power line. So we had 20 of those. 14 of the public service were alarms, but non-medical, such as faulty smoke detectors, CO detectors that were chirping, things like that. And then one that was related to the weather. I believe that was actually the house on a tree on a house. 78 non-emergencies, so they just were 58 false alarms, some good intent calls, and then like 14 of those were canceled en route. And then we have one law enforcement support. We helped law enforcement, we helped the police with something. So again, that was a total of 415 calls for the month of April, which brings us to the end of April. For the year to date, to the end of April was 1,558 total calls, and that's 38 less than last year, where we were at 1,596 at the same time. As far as those medical calls, 6 times we used Narcan as well.
Are
Any
there any questions from the council? Do any of the council members have any questions for Chief Taylor? There are none, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Have a good
you.
evening.
You as well. Are there any other reports from mayor or other city officers and departments?
Good evening, Council. Steve Forker, Chief of Police. Again, obviously, I emailed you guys this monthly report. For the month of April, Police Department responded to 3,855 calls for service, which was up 2.5% from March. Responded to 65 disturbances. We took 338 case reports. Shots fired was up as well, up to 38 for the month. Again, which is essentially doubled from the month of March. 5 of those are suspects and/or evidence was collected, and continued to follow up on those. By ward, shots fired was Ward 1 for 6 calls, Ward 2 5, Ward 3 6, Ward 4 had 5 calls for service, Ward 10 was up to 10 calls for service, and Ward 6 was 3. Again, the map on there shows that trend for the last several months. Again, some are pretty level or consistent. We did, again, see an increase in Ward 5 from 2 from last month to 10, which obviously drew some attention of ours. And there's some things we are addressing concerning those calls there. Total arrests for the month was 176. 14 of those juveniles, 162 adults. We saw Flock used in 24 investigations, which again was plus 15 from March. One thing that we've been doing is just ongoing, I would say, refresher training and stuff like that. We've been Flock has been a great partner, or I would say continuing partner with us, offering just quick like roll call type trainings for us. Just to kind of keep it fresh in our minds and different ways that other departments are using it. So we've been working with them over the last month or so, and obviously the statistics show much better results. They're at least logging that information, right? I can speak firsthandly that it's being used every day, but we don't always track it very well. But again, so we're starting to see those things being tracked better, which I think ultimately will show up on here. Total firearms seized was 18. Traffic stops saw an increase to 660, and citations issued was 535. One thing I did want to included in the email, wanted to expound on. Next Wednesday on the 13th at 11 a.m., we'll be here in the council chambers for our police civil service commission meeting, which we will be honoring several officers within our department with letters of commendation. Life Savings Award will be going to K-9 Officer Petrie, Exceptional Service Stars to Officer Tillman, Officer Francisco, and then again, additional life-saving awards for Officer Davenport, Hakes, Kuntz, Fletcher, and Lieutenant Ramian. They were actually involved in a critical incident over here on the Highway 12 bridge, in which they saved a young man's life, got him off the bridge there in an early morning event. But again, and then we had a big conclusion to a long-term drug investigation in which Detective Amber Marty was a critical role in that. She'll be receiving a exceptional service star for that. So again, obviously would invite you to come again, 11 a.m. next Wednesday. We'll be here in the council chambers if you can make it to help celebrate that. Also, Monday, the 11th, we will be swearing in 4 new police officers, brand new, fresh. They'll be going to the academy at the end of July and beginning of August, which will bring us to a complement of 84, which is the maximum in which we can be. And we haven't been to in, I think, upwards since 2019. So we're excited. And again, I know several members on the council were a big part of that I think obviously those pay increases with the lit tax that we saw several years ago, and really helped us with the recruitment and retaining. So again, I thank you. And again, obviously those efforts, right, we're seeing the fruition of those efforts that we paid back in 23 and 24, and now we're finally getting to there. So we're excited about that. So again, some fresh new recruits, no lateral hires this time. I think it's important to have that mix of experienced officers, bringing a few of them in, along with some fresh new faces, a couple of which are local homegrown. So again, we're excited about that. We'll be swearing them out on Monday, and also again recognizing them on Wednesday at our commission meeting. So
Are there
any questions?
Any questions? Councilman Dabney.
Yeah, there was something that you said that was kind of glossed over because there was no reaction from the crowd about some guys helping somebody off the bridge, not jumping off the bridge.
Yeah.
So who were those officers again? Do you have that? Can we please clap for them?
Yeah.
I need something positive going.
Yeah, we'll go into details about it, but again, it was Officer Angela Davenport, Officer Jackson Hakes, Officer Ryan Kuntz, Officer Kane Fletcher, and Lieutenant Jeff Ramian. Again, call came in as a suicidal subject, and
right.
Their quick and swift actions and communication skills ultimately resulted in the gentleman getting the help that they needed. So again, we'll go applaud them for that. Again, thank you for recognizing that, Council. No, thank you, sir.
Councilman Prisbalinski.
Yeah, Chief, I want to recognize and thank the LaPorte County Drug Task Force and the Michigan City Police Department for breaking up and arresting the fentanyl Motown 8 drug gang that was bringing in fentanyl into our communities, and keeping and increasing the drug activity. So very good job on that. And the other thing I'm excited about is to see that we got the number of police officers, up to 84. I mean, that has been like a 10-year
Almost, yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to say an ordeal, but trying to put different things in place to get 84 officers.
Yeah.
So my hat's off to you for getting that done with you and your staff. And the lit, I agree, the lit tax and the lit raise helped that quite a bit. So we got it done.
Awesome. Again,
Thank you very much.
appreciate the support of the council on that stuff, because that's ultimately right. That was a big driving force in keeping here and attracting new recruits here. So
Councilman Beatrice.
I just want to give you a special commendation for the arrest of that guy that was involved in the 3 robberies of delivery guys.
yeah,
That really upset me. I don't know why, but it really got me ticked off. And 3 in 3 days, is just way over the limit.
yeah, absolutely. And again, obviously, I expounded on a few of those things today, but that's something that we've been working on. Where I think each month with our report is that we're going to bring some of these these types of news releases and stuff that I didn't want to throw it all in tonight. But again, exceptional work done by our officers and our detectives. With the armed robberies that we saw late in the last week, and then ultimately securing a suspect and securing criminal charges against the individual. Really Friday night into Saturday morning. So
Well done.
good,
and
great job and a swift job by our detectives, right? They did a great job on that.
Are there any more comments or questions?
I have one.
Yes, Councilman Nelson.
Chief.
Yeah.
How does the flock system work with warrant services and driving while suspended?
So ultimately, right, those things are all entered into IDACs, which is Indiana Data and Communication Systems, right? So essentially, right, driver's license checks, when somebody has a warrant, right, that's entered into IDACs and NCIC, which is the National Crime Information Center. And so ultimately with Flock, those LPR, license plate reader cameras, if the licensed, or I would say the registered owner, has a warrant for their arrest and or a suspended driver's license, we would get an alert on that, which ultimately we would have to confirm right before.
So just to be clear, somebody that has a warrant or driver's license is suspended, y'all can put the information in the system and then it's going to monitor.
No, it would. So when you essentially drive by, right, it would read the license plate, and then it would run that license plate through IDACs and NCIC, right, which is essentially an Indiana and a nationwide database, right, for either wants and warrants or driver's license information. Okay, and then if they were wanted or had a suspended license, we would get that information back to say, yes, driver John Smith is suspended, right? And then it would be on us. Again, that's just lead information, right? So it would be on us to then personally confirm that information, right? If we found that vehicle with that said license plate and it said John Smith was the suspended driver, and clearly Jane Doe is driving, then we have no cause to pull that car over. Does that make sense? So that would have to be human verified, right? So all that stuff has to be human verified. If it says it's a male driver and we see a female driving, then case closed, right? We can't do anything further with that lead information.
So with getting those alerts, you're saying that you dispatch somebody to go and verify that?
It's not dispatched. No, it's all we can get. Each and every officer has the ability to set up those notifications while they're working individually. So yeah, it's not constantly like manned 24/7, and like we're just, again, an officer maybe doing traffic type patrols in a certain area where there's a flock camera. They may say, hey, today we're going to look for suspended drivers. And then again, sit, I would say downwind, right, from a license plate reader and say, hey, I'm looking for suspended drivers today. And then as they drive, north on Franklin Street, hey, well, there's that car that had a possible suspended driver. So then again, they would have to verify that.
So it's not in real time. I drive past, my license suspended, y'all get dispatched, y'all send somebody out?
Yeah, it's not dispatched by any means. No, it would just be through notifications on through the platform on our our MDTs, basically our computers, right?
Okay.
You can get alerts that way, but it's not dispatched. No, it's not real time like dispatch center.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Thank you, Chief. Do we have? Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Council. Tamiko Smith, City Controller. I just wanted to kind of give an update to the Council, specifically to Dr. Corr's question from the last Council meeting regarding the additional appropriation that we're going to be asking for from the Rainy Day Fund. Dr. Corr's question was, what are we doing to prevent the situation from happening again? And I have a proposal that the Controller's Office is working on, pending approval from HR and the Attorney's Office, and of course the Mayor. But we're trying to establish processes, like processes that are set in stone, so regardless to who is in that position, the process still remains. So I handed you all a handout this evening, and again, it's a proposal at this point, but I wanted to show you that we are working to put things in place to prevent this from being an issue. It's basically, it's going to describe what our purpose is, what our commitment is to the city, and 6 key points, steps that need to be followed in the process when someone wants to retire. And it also is going to show you the risks that you can face if these steps aren't followed. And it also shows who has a role and what that role is in this process. Are there any questions?
Do any of the council members have any questions for Controller Smith? Dr. Cora?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, thank you for preparing this. I think, whenever there is a problem like we are dealing with, it's always nice to see what we can do to put in process, or some of the things, processes in place. That way it won't happen again. So I think this is nicely done. My only question is, like, when department heads or new department heads come and take up positions, will there be some kind of in-service so that they know what their role is in this process?
I think that would be ideal, but it's also a question probably for HR to be 100% sure. So I can refer.
If you could pass on to them.
I will.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I believe that's all that the council has, but I would like to say publicly again, we do have Mary Lynn, who was present, city controller, and will be on her new endeavors. And we now have Controller Tamiko Smith, who will now be our controller for the city.
Thank you.
And again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Good evening, councilmen, city councilors,
Good evening, Mayor.
council president. I have multiple things this evening. First of all, thank you to my department heads for getting up here and sharing the information this evening. Also, I hope to see you. We have a couple of things with the police. Did you announce the memorial service? I don't think he did he?
Okay.
So there are multiple things. We'll make sure that you all get invites to a couple of things that are happening. But I do want to acknowledge the Earth Day extravaganza that the Sustainability Commission put on. It was a phenomenal turnout. I was there in the early when it first got started and people were setting up. But every year it seems like it gets bigger and bigger with that event. So congratulations to the Sustainability Commission and the Tree Board who was out there, and the Trail Creek Watershed. You had everybody out there. So kudos to you on that. With that being said, I know that I'm doing a proclamation on May 9th, but I want to read it here tonight for the Bird Habitat Protection Day, which is on May 9th. And on this day, we recognize Michigan City's ongoing dedication to preserving and enhancing natural habitats that support both our community and the birds that call it home. Whereas Michigan City's lakefront, dunes, parks, and neighborhoods provide essential habitat for a wide variety of native and migratory bird species, including snowy owls, sandhill cranes, and songbirds that enrich our environment year-round. And whereas the protection and enhancement of bird habitat strengthens biodiversity, supports environmental sustainability, and enriches the quality of life for residents and visitors alike. And whereas Michigan City has demonstrated leadership in environmental stewardship through initiatives such as native tree planting, habitat restoration, and sustainable practices supported by local, state, and federal partners, including a $1 million grant from the U.S. Forest Service. And whereas the city was proudly designated a Bird Town, Indiana community in 2022 through a rigorous application process modeled after Tree City, USA, reflecting the collaborative efforts of the Potawatomi Audubon Society, local birding groups, and community partners to promote bird-friendly practices. And whereas birding is both a recreational and educational activity that brings visitors and economic benefits to the region while inspiring residents to actively participate in conservation efforts. And whereas World Migratory Bird Day highlights the importance of protecting migratory birds and encourages communities to engage in conservation, education, and community science. Now, therefore, I, Angie Nelson Deitch, Mayor of Michigan City, Indiana, do hereby proclaim Saturday, May 9th, 2026 as Bird Habitat Protection Day in Michigan City, and call upon residents, businesses, schools, and community organizations to celebrate by protecting bird habitat, participating in birding and conservation activities, and supporting initiatives that ensure birds in our communities thrive for generations to come. So this will be enshrined on that day. And as someone, and I shouldn't even say this, but I am, Mary Lynn, she helped me get my mother-in-law a beautiful Christmas gift. And it's actually a camera on a bird feeder, because my mother-in-law is a birder. And so we tend to buy bird feeders and bird cameras and things like that each year for her. So again, people don't realize how big that is in our region. It's a big deal. So that's number one. Couple of other things. I know we announced our Michigan City Opportunity Network. We have, for the last 2 years, been really focusing on workforce development. And next week here at the EOC, we have our second open house for the Indiana plan. And the class will be in July, but the open house is May 13th at 5 p.m. And I will say, I went on a tour of the data center yesterday, and I was so happy to see one of our Indiana Plan graduates. He came and gave me a hug that was working on site. And one thing I will say, because you hear all this misinformation, good or bad, there were a lot of women on site working when I was there yesterday, which totally blew me away, in construction jobs. But to see that young man come find me to give me a hug, and I know his past, and to see him out there working was tremendous. If it's only one of 10, I think that's a win for Michigan City, for our residents. So I was so proud that happened yesterday. So I did want to mention that. So please, if you're interested, we are funding another class, and the city's funding this class. And this is by me asking for sponsorships and using charitable gala funds. It's not taxpayer dollars paying for this. So I want to make sure that people understand the importance of workforce development in our community. And what was approved at the Board of Works was a partnership with Center for Workforce Innovations and Goodwill Industries. We are partnering, because they matched us by $40,000. The charitable gala is given $30,000. Center for Workforce Innovation, CWI, mouthful, $40,000, and we're going to have Part of that is a reentry program for local residents. And then there's a ambassador piece of that with high school students. We're going to have ambassadors working downtown, making sure that our downtown and some of our major corridors are clean. So they'll be working, those will be high school students. And then we'll have people working in vector and in park maintenance this year. So 25 to 30 people. This is a pilot program that is happening. So again, another wonderful opportunity for the citizens of Michigan City. And last, I would like to say that and make an introduction. I would like to recognize, and some of you saw him at the gala, Broderick Green from Google is here this evening. I would like to ask him to come up. I know many of you, we had several of our nonprofits here today to meet with him, to talk about what they have going on. There's going to be several meetings that you'll be called into to have some small group meetings. We had several smaller group meetings with different community members today, but we invited all the nonprofits because from the gala, we are giving out $150,000 in funds from the gala in total that will support workforce development and those individual organizations, which is significant because Google matched with $50,000 give. So $150,000 going out without using taxpayer dollars is phenomenal. And I want to thank every sponsor and everyone who bought a ticket and who attended, who committed to the residents of Michigan City. These nonprofits are the people who make the citizens whole, who give, who provide the services, and we need to support them as much as we can. And with that being said, I know he has a special announcement for this evening, and I don't want to steal his thunder, but I will say that shout out to Councilman Don Pribolinski because he's been a champion for our destination park, and the council and myself as a member of the previous council, we all have been supportive of this initiative and trying to get to the finish line. And with that being said, I want to introduce Broderick Green.
Madam President, members of the council, my name is Broderick Green. I am the Public Affairs Manager for Google here in Indiana. I'm going to keep this really short. We're very excited to get started here. After announcing the project recently, I'm looking forward to getting going in the community. And so this is my second trip here to Michigan City. Certainly won't be my last one. But I want to share tonight that Google is going to put $400,000 towards the Fetters Alley all-inclusive playground and fitness park to close the final fund to allow that project to happen in full. Thank you. We take our community involvement very seriously, and we don't wait until our facilities become operational to start doing it. So this is the initial outreach that we're going to have here. So yeah, this is great for us. I love the project. I want to see it go live and people start playing around with it as soon as possible. The other thing I'll mention is that as part of our information sharing with the community, we're creating a website that's going to be really simple, MichiganCityDataCenter.com. And so we'll have frequently asked questions. We'll make sure that we give updates so people understand what we're doing here in the community. There'll also be a contact us form on that page. So if there are any questions, concerns, people can fill that out. It'll get directly to us. We also have an email alias. Again, very simple, Michigan City Data Center, Michigan City Data Center at google.com. It's a mouthful. But we want to make sure we're responsive. We want to make sure we're engaging. People get to know us, put human faces to this project. But again, we're excited to get started, and I can't wait to see the kids playing on that playground.
Thank you.
And let me say that this project didn't happen overnight.
No.
And we know that the goal is to start this project right after Labor Day, so that we will be breaking ground directly after Labor Day. I know that the park department is excited. You know, we were hoping that we wouldn't have to take something off the table for the park, and this gap is really tremendous in helping us to fill that. So I think this is a defining moment for our partnership with Google, and making sure that we all are part of this community, including them. Making sure our students have opportunities. We talked about that quite a bit, about STEM and some of the external factors that will directly impact what happens next. So I'm excited. It was a wonderful tour yesterday. Again, one of the facts that they shared on the tour was, there's enough cable in that building to wrap around the world 14 times. And just to put that in perspective, I sat on the panel with Mayor Josh from Hobart last week, and I think it's important that people get up here and talk about what we should have, could have had. Our scale of our data center is significant. It's a baby data center. And truly, we're on 67 acres compared to most that are 500 acres. The other piece of that is, we're an $800 million project compared to a $16 billion project with 14 buildings. We're talking 2 buildings, 67 acres compared to 14 buildings, and it's small potatoes compared to some of these larger data centers. And this is actually a model by it being a retrofit of a brownfield. Very different, uniquely different in scale, uniquely different in resources, and all of those things. And I think that this partnership will help us finally educate people to really understand what this means and what technology and what AI and data and what all those things mean. So I think it's important that you all understand that, because there is no going back. I want to make that clear to all of you. There is no going back. And this opportunity was a once in a lifetime opportunity. So again, I thank you all for being strong and steadfast, and answering those hard questions and taking those hard votes, because I know it was a difficult time. So again, more to come, more good things to come. I think the community is excited that we're supporting them, and we will continue to do that in this administration. So thank you all.
Mayor, I believe there's a question from Councilman Nelson.
Yes, a question for, is it Broderick?
It's Broderick.
Broderick. Hello, how you doing, sir?
Doing well, about yourself?
Exceptional. Besides the money that you are investing and injecting into the city, what else can we expect for the residents, your neighbors, as far as assurances and comfort?
In terms of what do you mean?
Far as assurities, and I know there's a lot of just questions that they have as far as residents in that area. Whether it's safety measures, the diesel fuel being burned, et cetera, et cetera.
Sure.
Are there any things that you are going to be implementing, injecting, putting on the forefront to give assurance and comfort to those residents?
So as we're kind of ramping up our role here on the project, one of the things that, and the mayor kind of alluded to it, is having actual community meetings and discussions about what the project's doing and what it's not doing, and what our involvement is going to be going forward. So a lot of that is kind of yet to be determined to spell out fully, but the plan will be to be very transparent with the residents who have questions about what's going on.
And I would just add to, again, those the emails, the sites and things, is that where they can go and address or present their questions or concerns through that way, through that source of communication.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Madam President,
Dr. Cora?
Yeah.
Councilman?
Thank you very much. Mr. Broderick, thank you very much for Google's generous contribution to this park. It'll really enhance the quality of life here in Michigan City. Thanks for being here, and I'm hoping that Google will continue to engage the community, especially, as the mayor said, in STEM education, because that'll be a huge development for this community. And Mayor, I'm glad you took a tour. We all would like to take a tour too. So if you can set it up, thank you very much.
Okay.
All right.
Councilwoman Moldenauer?
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to be sure that I have the Gmail address correct and also the website correct, because I am the city council person that represents Ward 6, where the data center is located. So if we could get that a little more slowly, I'd appreciate it.
You got it. So it's MichiganCityDataCenter.com. That's the website. And then the email. So there are two ways to contact us. There's a contact us form on the website directly, but then there's a separate email alias that is MichiganCityDataCenter@google.com.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. And thanks for being here this evening. And also, from the bottom of my heart, being a supporter of the inclusive playground since the very beginning, getting us over the final line is just, it's very exciting. So thank you very much.
Thank you. All right.
Councilman Dabney?
And this is not a question, this is a comment. So I saw you guys get ready to turn and head on, but that's fine if you do. But glad for the support for the all-inclusive playground there. And that leads me into something else that's been a discussion that's been going on here in the city council. There was something passed back in 1978 through the park department that stated that only Michigan City residents would be able to go into Fetters Alley. And there was something that happened in 2005 where new rules were drawn, but that wasn't addressed specifically, right? So we decided, or they decided as a board, to come together and officially get rid of that old ruling from 1978 to say, you know, that with the all-inclusive part in Welcome to 2026, that we're going to allow people who are not just Michigan City residents into Fetters Alley. And I appreciate that. So that's all I wanted to say. And once again, thank you for that donation and appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Councilman Przybylski?
Yeah, and I just want to personally thank the mayor for working with Google and talking to them about getting the final donation, and appreciate it very much, Mayor, for all the work and effort that you put forth trying to get this project a reality. So thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Next on the council's agenda, we're down to petitions. Madam Clerk, do we have any petitions? Oh,
Shannon.
Department heads.
yeah. Well, I didn't see you.
Shannon Eason, Michigan City Park Superintendent. I am so excited right now. So on behalf of our entire community, I want to thank Google for their extraordinary generosity that really got us over the finish line. This space is going to serve as a vibrant space for play, wellness, connection for people of all abilities. I'm grateful to Mayor Andre, all of you, the Redevelopment Commission, Michigan City Economic Development Corporation, for your leadership and your vision and your commitment to seeing this project through. I'd also like to thank the Health Foundation of LaPorte County, Congressman Frank Mervan, Duneland Health Council, the Michigan City Human Rights Commission, United Way of LaPorte County, and private donors, including several of our council people. Thank you for your belief in equity, belonging, and the power of shared spaces, which is super important. This is going to create a healthier, happier, stronger, and more inclusive community for all of us. We're profoundly grateful for the legacy that all of you are creating, one that will be felt every day through play, fitness, and community generations to come. I'd like to thank Councilman Prespolinski for being on the steering committee. We started this 4.5 years ago. I'd like to thank our wonderful staff, Assistant Superintendent William Walker, Maintenance Director Pat Bolt, and our new administrative assistant or director, not assistant, director, Melissa Moore. They have been instrumental in moving all these grants and all the things that comes with funding for a project of this size. They've been incredible. And lastly, I'm grateful to live here in a community that has vision, that believes in dreams, and brings it to the end of the finish line. So congratulations to all of you in Michigan City. I'm very proud to be your superintendent, and thank you very much. Awesome.
Okay. Then next on our agenda is petition. Am I missing anyone else from parking board that I don't want to overlook anyone? Okay. Madam Clerk, do we have any petitions for this evening?
There's no petitions.
Madam Clerk, do we have any communications this evening?
A notice of public hearing was received in the clerk's office on April 28th, 2026 from the Michigan City Board of Zoning Appeals regarding petition B-104-26 being held on Tuesday, May 12th, 2026. Correspondence was received in the clerk's office on April 22nd, 2026 from Amy Leninsky and Dominic Yankee to the Zoning Board of Appeals committee members.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, our first ordinance on first reading by title only.
An ordinance on first reading by title only, creating section 2-420 in chapter 2, article 1 of the Michigan City Municipal Code to establish a fund for specific expenses related to the riverboat dining within the city of Michigan City, Indiana. And this is introduced by Ms. Tillman.
Thank you. So this particular ordinance is in regards to, there is already an existing established riverfront alcohol beverage license program, which is already established, which was established March of 2008, which established the riverfront alcohol beverage license program within Michigan City. The program established 9 liquor license to be granted by the city within the Riverfront Alcohol Beverage District. This particular program is a creation, contemplated a fee for the license and specific funds for the fees to be placed into, although no funds was ever created, nor had any fees ever been collected. Well, that is the purpose and the support of this ordinance in order to move forward. The Michigan City Redevelopment Commission approved and adopted its resolution number 7-2025. Has already been in place, and the Common Council through resolution 4969 has already approved the recommendations of the Redevelopment Commission to modify those aforementioned local rules to the Riverfront Alcohol Beverage License Program. I also, oh, he stepped out. Oh, you're right there. Okay, you're moving on me. We have Mr. York, if you would please to come up to elaborate a little further on this.
I mean, I don't know if I can. Scott York, Director of Redevelopment, you did an excellent job. So thank you. So I want to be, I guess, a couple of things. Be very clear. This isn't something new. It's something old that was never implemented. I don't know the history of why it wasn't implemented. It's been on, and it's always been in our application. Whenever anyone applies for these and receives, it's always in there. And the wording says, once it's established, you will do this. It's one of the other criteria for being granted the liquor license. I would also like to say that, these liquor licenses are special. They're non-quoted. So that means that that they don't have to wait for 2,500 people to move into the city to be granted a new liquor license. These are used as an incentive. They are really a privilege to have rather than buying them on the open market. Some of the things I would like to say are the fund. You saw the recommendations for the fund of what it could be used for. I think it was all. It's still within the contemplated uses of. I think in the spirit of what they were trying to create in 2008. Promotion of the downtown, create the most. I think the wording was the most vibrant and diverse food scene in Northwest Indiana. That's really what the intention in 2008 was. I'll be very honest. I think we've really accomplished that as of right now. And honestly, I can't think of a better time to have this fund available to promote our downtown and we have our new transit development district down there. So there's just a lot of synergy right now in our downtown. There would be one thing I would change in the ordinance, and it's the description of what it's on page 1 at the very bottom, and it's subject B, and it says the municipal boundaries. I want to be very clear. Only the liquor licenses that are granted for the municipal riverfront liquor license district are in that are ones that we collect from. We do not collect from anyone that has bought one on the open market, meaning that those are quoted liquor licenses. These are very much different than that. And we will only be collecting from the ones we established or grant within our district. So I want to change that corporate boundaries to be very specific of municipal riverfront boundary. So I'll be bringing you a written recommendation. Mr. Trammell Rags will provide that to our corporate council, and then I would provide it back to council once we agree upon that language, if that would be acceptable for you.
Okay. And
go ahead.
If I could also or if you would like to elaborate too, that these funds is restricted and non-reverting funds.
They're restricted, non-reverting. I think that's really what you want to do. You want to start establishing something that can be sustainable for the future, where maybe you leave money in it every year and it can roll over. You might see in there, I did add in there that you could match for grants. So say I'm just going to give an example, not that there's a grant for this, but say there's a grant for trash receptacles. Maybe that could be matched and you can double your money for trash receptacles, bike racks, simple things like that. Obviously, you may not have $1 million in there and be after go over $1 million, but you would have something in there. And some of those grants aren't large grants. Sometimes you can get $10,000 grants for beautification grants, and you'd have $20,000 to give to that. So that's kind of why we made it as flexible as possible and non-reverting. There are 12 active liquor licenses right now. You might ask how many there are. There was 13. We lost one. That would have been the Vita del Lago. But there are 12 active liquor licenses right now. So that would be about $30,000 in there that we would collect. I also want to be specific about collection. Our intention is not to collect this year. We're going into our summer months. Those are busy months for these guys, and it's their main generation of income. In our ordinance, the one you passed most recently, it said that we would not collect until July 1st of every year. We do not intend to collect until July 1st of 2027. Okay, be very specific. We intend to, though, notify the 12 and say, hey, by the way, we did pass this. We passed the original, the new rules, but now we're following up with a letter and letting you know, hey, be prepared for this. And but we won't collect until July 1st of 2027.
I would like to open this up for public comment. Would you please come up for public comment on this ordinance? Please state your name and your address, and you have 3 minutes.
Yes, this is Tommy Kolovic from 1316 Ohio Street. One thing I want to mention about the riverfront license is, like the outdoor dining, like Farina's, for example. They got practically our entire sidewalk space for their outdoor dining, and I don't think we charge them any fees for it. I think they get that scot-free, that very valuable sidewalk space. All they give is about a foot between the fence and the curb for pedestrian right of way. I don't think we're getting anything for that. We keep giving the store away for free around here. I don't like eating outdoors. I eat indoors. I think my friend Bill Netzer says it best. He's in his 90s. He's a lifelong farmer and retired local 150 operating engineer. He said, you know, people nowadays are nuts. He said when he was a little boy growing up down on the farm in Knox, he'd sit at the table with his grandma and grandpa and they'd have their dinner. When they'd get done, they'd go out and use the outhouse. Nowadays, people like to eat outdoors and they'll go inside and use the bathroom. So I think we need to start collecting some fees for all these outdoor dining spaces. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments on this ordinance? Are there any other public comments on this ordinance? This is the last call for public comments on this ordinance. Public comment is now closed. Comments from the council. Dr. Cora?
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. My question, Russell, was, is this 30,000 per year annual revenue?
Great question. It could change. So we, as I mentioned before, we had 13 active liquor licenses. We lost a company. So these liquor licenses are different than a quoted liquor license. A quoted liquor license is, I own a business. I want to move my business. I take that license with me and move in within the municipality. These are geographically located, and they're very specific to ownership. So if we grant it to an LLC and that LLC becomes a corporation and they add people into it, that liquor license has to be regranted to that corporation. So it's very strict on the rules. And also, if I wanted to move my business, I'll give you an example. A good example is Royale with Cheese. They moved from Franklin Street to 9th Street. They had to get their license regranted to the new location. So I guess in saying that, I would say that you might get 30,000 one year, but if we say we lose 3 establishments or 4 establishments, you're only going to have maybe 9 licenses. You're only going to collect the 9 off the 9. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to explain the difference in the liquor license. I forgot that piece of it though.
Councilman Dabney?
Yeah, real quick, Skylar, and I'm glad you brought up the geographic way it's set up. So somebody who, let's say I have a restaurant down there in those districts, those municipal boundaries that you talk about. If I take my business and move out south of Franklin, I cannot move that liquor license with me. It's because that's to stay within the geographical area that is assigned.
Yeah, it's a very specific state law. It's 3,000 feet away, which you guys just approved at the end of the year, the new boundary. We expanded that pretty much to the maximum that you can be right now, which actually gained us a little bit of space in the downtown. I thought it made sense. I think a lot of other people thought it made sense. But yeah, you can't go outside that boundary. And once you cross over, yeah, it's gone.
Thanks.
Fortunately. Yeah.
Councilman Coulter?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. York, what outreach has there been to the restaurant owners that have these 12 liquor licenses?
So we've let them know, and we go over it when we meet with them, when they come in to meet with us, when we grant these licenses, we go over that piece of it, because it's usually one of the number one questions we get asked. Hey, do I pay? Where do I pay? We're like, well, we haven't established it yet, but we intend to establish it. So we've made it known, and it's actually in the application. It's been in the application since it was originally created. We just carried that over into the new application, and then we stated in our most recent ordinance that, hey, we do intend to follow through on this time and not let it just kind of, I guess, fizzle out, for lack of words, from 2008. We will send a letter to all the 12. Once we adopt this, we'll send a letter and then give them that grace period until July of next year. Hence why we're not collecting this year.
All right.
I would also say, I would say that our intention is not to run people out of business. That's not the intention. We'll try to work with people this first year because it's something new.
Thank you. That brings me to my next question, and I don't know if we've talked about it yet, but what is the fee that they'll be paying?
So it's $2,500 a year, collected on or before July 1st.
And then how does that compare to nearby communities?
Great question. I was hoping you'd follow that up. Yes, so Valpo does this. It's a $2,500. I think South Bend does this. Theirs is $2,000, but it's payable to 2 different organizations. I believe one is a downtown dining fund, and I think other one's a similar organization, like a downtown organization of some sort. But I did do some research just to kind of see, because I know they're more prolific on their licenses than most other communities around here. We're kind of unique in that we have the opportunity for a river here. A lot of folks don't have that opportunity, so I looked at those two municipalities.
Thank you.
Great questions.
Are there any other questions or comments for Mr. York? If there are none, this ordinance will carry over until for second reading to the next council meeting. Madam Clerk, on our next ordinance by title only on first reading, please.
An ordinance on first reading by title only, amending section 2-59 in the Michigan City Municipal Code regarding the order of business for meetings of the Common Council, and this is introduced by Ms. Tillman.
Okay. So the reason why I consulted with the corporate attorney and with our council attorney is because, as you know, we have all experienced and witnessed or had questions challenging the council's agenda. And one of the things was in regards to the communications. So based on the ordinance, amending section 2-59, this was something that was established August of 2010. The Common Council of the Michigan City adopted this ordinance, number 4108, which established a general order of business to be followed during all regular meetings of the Common Council. So to be specific, I won't read it in its entirety, but just to give the sum to narrow this all down in simple form is, so our order of business, how our agenda currently reads, there are petitions, resolutions, and ordinances, things that are pertaining to those particular items of law. Those are the things that should also follow or fall under our communications. But instead, not only are we getting the necessary things that is required under statute, but we're also getting comments or communications regarding personal grievances, whether it's directed with council, other department heads, any other entities within the city, that this is not where that information is supposed to go. It's not quieting anyone's comments, their concerns in regards to the city. So what I am asking, within hopes of the support of the council of this moving forward at our next two council meetings, is that the communications would be removed from the council agenda. It does not negate or state that you do not have the opportunity to submit your communications. It's just that the communications, if it is not pertaining to law or the matter at hand regarding any of the petitions, resolutions, or ordinances, that it will not be put on the council agenda. You will still be able to turn in your communications as normal to the clerk's office. It will still get file stamped, and it falls under public record if anyone else wish to read that information. The clerk's office also provide the council an email and hard copy of every communication that is presented to the clerk's office, then is provided to us. So I will now, if there are any comments, or if the corporate attorney has anything that she would like to say or to add to that, if I missed anything.
Good afternoon, Council, Corporation Counsel, and Rilla Page Stahlbrink. President Tillman gave a great explanation, and I believe that section is really defined for specific petitions as contemplated by statute or ordinance, or any specific written remonstrations, as well as contemplated by statute or local ordinance. So I agree with that. I think that it would be much cleaner for your agenda and you're not silencing voices. People can come during public comment, they can speak then, but it's more of what the agenda is intended to, the communications, and it defines what those are. Thank you.
I would now open this up for public comment. Public comment on this ordinance.
Yeah, Tommy Kolovic, 1316 Ohio Street. You might as well eliminate the communications off the agenda because you just read the communications by title only. You actually don't read what the communications or what the letters are. If you want to know what the communications are, you got to email the clerk's office and they'll have to send it to you. So just go ahead and eliminate it.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, John Carrington, 140 Esther Street. When we get the agendas, all they have is the title of the communication on it anyway. It's not a really big, it's not like the letter or the petition or anything is using up a lot of paper. It's just an introduction, just to let people know who wrote. And after the Google fellow just spoke about how transparent they're going to be, I think, transparency is a good thing. And this does strike me as kind of an attempt at opacity and to kind of silence free speech. This is just, all we're doing is just alerting the public to petitions and things that have been received. There's no detail, it's just a line item. And I don't see any reason to eliminate it, except that some of this stuff can be embarrassing or, maybe cast a negative light on things. And I think it's beholden on us as adults to be able to handle when communications don't always flatter us or cast us in a favorable light. So I think it should stay.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
My name's Amy Lisinski, 104 Mayfield Drive. You can say it's not an attempt to silence us, but again, as he just stated, you guys don't even read them. They're on there by title only. And if you take them off of there, you're saying that people can still request them. How would anybody know that said documents existed because they're no longer on the agenda for people to see that that was a topic that was submitted to you guys? So it is 100% an attempt to delete this stuff off of the agenda because nobody would have any way to know they would want to FOIA request anything if it's not on there anymore. You can say what you would like, but it is an attempt to silence us. And when you talk about being open and communication with you guys, and we have our time to respond during comments at the end, you guys pick and choose which comments you want to reply to. You pick and cherry pick which ones you like, and you ignore the ones you don't. I don't have a very transparent opportunity with you guys. I can send emails to several of you guys, and many of you don't reply at all. You guys have a responsibility to answer us, and you ignore us, and this is just more ways to continue to ignore the constituents. Terrible idea.
Are there any other public comments?
Ernie Hollahan, 302 Gladys Street. I'm with all the others. This is information for us. This should stay in here where we can see it. We shouldn't have to do it in public comment because you limit us to the minutes that we can speak. And we shouldn't have to speak on this when you can still put it in here. I disagree with it.
From your website. From your website. Eileen Mark, 219 Ann Street. The purpose of the City Council is to provide citizens with a voice and representation on city administration. The City Council serves as the legislative branch of the city government and handles the fiscal responsibilities of the city. Does this sound like what you're supposed to be doing according to your website, President Tillman? 3 minutes is what we get when we have a data center on Royal Road and a disappeared employee, undocumented, who fell through the roof. We have Google come in here and throw $400,000 at a park. I mean, it's wonderful to have an inclusive park. I am all about that. But how easily you all fold
It is just unbelievable. When ordinances have been ignored, there's 24/7 construction going on over there, and all you do is sit around and think of ways to take away our voice. We need at least 5 minutes. Those are the rules. We're asking for that. And this ordinance, please, every one of you, I know some of you up there care because I've talked to some of you. Some of you care up there. Others, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know why you're up there. Do not vote for this ordinance. And we have memories, and the election is next year. And I don't know who cares up here about that. But let me tell you something. We remember.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments on this ordinance? This is the last call. We have no one online. Public comments are now closed. Any comments from the council? My last comment in regards, is there?
I got
Councilman Colton?
Thank you. My reading of this wasn't that we're eliminating the communication sections, but just limiting it to topics under our jurisdiction. Am I misled by that?
Yeah.
We are eliminating that other than pertinent information that is pertaining to resolutions, petitions, or ordinances.
So I am right. So there will be a communication section.
Specifically for that.
Okay, thank you.
On the agenda?
Or am I stating that correctly?
No.
Excuse me, I'm addressing the attorney.
I thought it was gonna be gone.
It's defining what those communications are. Specifically for that section, that it would be the presentation of written petitions, written remonstrations, and any kind of topics towards resolutions. So those would be matters that would be under your jurisdiction relevant to any resolutions or any ordinances. So many times you will have a petition that goes hand in hand, for example, with a vacation. So that it would be tailored to those kind of communications that go right in your jurisdiction.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Councilman Prisbalinski.
Yes, Madam President. Okay. I'm waiting. I was just waiting for the other discussion to stop, but I'll move forward. Ma'am. Thank you. Okay. After I read this proposed ordinance, the type of format that we have been using and are using is been in the Michigan City Muni Code for 57 years. And it's in there today. And have been able to go back and find where this type of format has been used for 71 years in the presentation of the City Council. And I have never, as long as I've been on the City Council for 10 years now and sat in the seat of president, I've never seen where these communications, petitions, letters that are maybe titled that have come to the clerk's office, but the communication is put on the council agenda, where that has ever caused any uproar or any mismanagement of the city council meeting in all these years. And where this all popped up from all of a sudden, I have no idea. To me, this all has to deal with transparency and what us as office holders, as council members, have a responsibility to transform the information to the citizens of Michigan City, which they solely deserve. And as the time, in the 10 years that I've been on the city council, and as the years I've sat in as the president and vice president, I've never heard not one council member ever come up to me and say, you know what, we need to do something with that communication section because it's not right. It's taken up too much time during the council meeting. And for example, tonight, I know the clerk read a couple of communications. It took 30 seconds to read those communications. And what effect did it have on anybody? No negative effect or anything like that. It's just making sure the people of Michigan City can put their information on, take it to the clerk's office, submit it to the agenda, and then the council members, if they want to or not, go back to the clerk's office, get a copy of it, and read it. If they don't want to read it, you don't have to read it. But it's still, this agenda is also made for the residents that live in Michigan City, and they should be able to get that information. So I can state right now that I am not for this ordinance. Thank you.
Dr. Councilman Cora.
Thank you, Madam President. You know, I feel that the current system is working well, and my preference would be to leave it the way it is. Thank you.
Councilman Dabney.
And I understand the concerns of Councilman Dr. Cora and Prebelinski here, but this is just defining what can and what cannot go. And I would give you, if somebody writes something in the correspondence that says, Councilman Coulter, Councilman Lee, Councilman Dabney, Councilman Moldenauer, and Councilman Nelson are all drug dealers. Should that go up? It's just now I am coming on. It is just defining what can go up there. If they're saying something pertaining to...
Excuse me. This is not a point of order, but please allow Councilman Dabney to finish. We will not have any outbursts in the chambers. Thank you.
Yeah, but it's not stopping people from being able to send in things in the correspondence that have to do with some things on the agenda. So that was an extreme example of what I said, but that is, kind of, to get to define if something like that would be put out on correspondence.
Thank you, Councilman Dabney. And I would just like to conclude or to add to that as well. There are also things that may be pending, some legalities or information that is not privy to the public. It could be a pending something that we may receive from law enforcement, from the fire department. It could be a case. It could be property, things of that nature that should not be put out there publicly at that particular time. So we have to be very careful what information is disclosed. And again, it is transparency. It's not something that I just decided to do, or it's been 70 years. It's been a lot of things that happened 70 years ago and a lot of things that were bad. Do that mean we're supposed to continue to do it that way? But when the statute and the policy allows us to make these changes as the presiding president of the council, it is also my duty and responsibility to review not just your concerns as our constituents, but it's also to run a meeting decent and in order. And if there are things that needs to be changed, we change or review policies every day. Legislation, that's what we're here to do. I understand it may not be something you like. You may not like the way that it's being brought to you. But to say that this has never occurred, I've never heard anyone say that. Well, I have. And whether it's a threat, whether it's put in writing, or whether it's verbally, it stops here. And as long as I am presiding, I am not going to allow that to continue in this council chamber so that we can continue to conduct business as we're supposed to. Again, not silencing you. And again, if you read Robert's rules, if you read the Muni Code, the council president sets the agenda, period. And for the record, I would also like to state and to address the clerk, since we're having this open discussion of being transparent. This is the second council meeting. The council president approves the council agenda. This is twice in 1 month and prior months. So today's agenda has not been approved by me, but it's put out there. That 48-hour rule, let's stay transparent. That 48-hour rule, yes, when there is a public hearing, it has to be uploaded for public record. But the 48 hours that we just give to the public, there is no date. Actually, if you want to do 48 hours, my 48 hours is Sunday before the council meeting. So moving forward, I would ask if the clerk will also make sure that before the agenda goes out, that you get the appropriate approval before submitting it. So I will end on that. This ordinance will carry over until second reading for the next council meeting. Thank you. Madam Clerk, if you would please, by title only, read our next ordinance on second reading by title only.
An ordinance on second reading by title only. An ordinance vacating a portion of a public alley in the city of Michigan City, running parallel to East Michigan Boulevard and located immediately south of and adjacent to 2525 and 2515 East Michigan Boulevard. And this is introduced by Mr. Prespolinski.
And this ordinance has been advertised in the Herald Dispatch on April 22nd, 2026. Formal public hearing will be held May 5th, 2026. Do the sponsor have any comments that they would like to make on their ordinance?
Madam President, Attorney Barry McDonald's here this evening to discuss the ordinance. And I know we did discuss it at the last council meeting. And if Mr. McDonald wants to come up and refresh the council members on exactly what we're proposing here, I'd appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Prispolinski, Madam President, members of the council. My name again, for the record, is Barry McDonald. I'm an attorney here in Michigan City with offices at 601 Franklin Street, representing my clients, Bailey's Properties LLC, and their request to vacate a portion of a undeveloped public alley, much of which has been previously vacated, behind their property at 2525 East Michigan Boulevard, which is essentially the Sentinel Alarm building that is now owned by the Baileys, who also own the animal hospital next door. In the interest of time, I will not rehash kind of what I went through before. Needless to say, they need the vacation, if the council is so inclined, to allow them to rebuild a septic system, to allow them to expand a parking lot, and quite frankly, because as it sits right now, the alley can't function as an alley because the building that they own has been located in the middle of the alley since its inception many, many decades ago. I will note one item, which is I know that you have received, as I have, correspondence from the city engineer, Mr. Werner, who initially wanted a carve-out of the alley that was going to be vacated to protect the neighboring property owner, the Bats, and protect the fact that they've kind of got a garbage enclosure that's been encroaching on this alley for many, many years. Subsequent to that, Mr. Werner and I have discussed this. I think we've come to terms on what maybe a better solution might be, which is to leave the vacation size and scope what it was in my original petition and ordinance. But when we go to allocate the property between the two property owners, because as you know, when we vacate property, it goes to the two property owners, I will have the surveyor redraw that a bit to make sure that that property is going to be given to the BATS property owner, so that we will do our best to kind of make sure that we don't have a situation where that property owner is going to be beholden to my client. So if I might supplement or amend the ordinance I presented by presenting you between now and the third reading with an amended Exhibit B that would kind of have a very specific legal description and a very specific drawing, I'd certainly obviously run it by Mr. Werner, but bring that to you for third reading. But I think Mr. Werner and I are kind of now on the same page and are ready to move forward.
Okay.
And thank you again.
Okay, I will open this up for a formal public hearing. Public hearing is now open on this ordinance. Are there any comments?
Yes, this is Tommy Kolavic from 1316 Ohio Street. I'd just like to move these next petitions to third reading so Mr. McDonald and everybody don't have to keep coming back. I think this is a great project. And I agree with Sel Dunlop. I think Mr. McDonald gives the best presentations. I just love when attorneys like Mr. McDonald and Mr. Willoughby and Anthony Novak get. I probably learned so much from these people, and they're just amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments on this ordinance? Are there any other comments on this ordinance? Are there any other comments on this ordinance? We have no one online. Public comments are now closed. Public hearing is now closed. Any comments from the council?
Yeah, Madam President. Since Attorney McDonald wants to bring the amendment, or he's going to send the amendment to all the council members, do we have to make approval for amendments on third reading? Or can we just, the council has to vote on that, correct? All right. So I make the motion that we allow amendments on third reading.
Support.
Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Mr. Beeching,
Aye.
Mr. Coulter, Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Dr. Cora,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Moldenhauer,
Aye.
Mr. Nelson,
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
and 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Madam Clerk, if you would, this ordinance on third reading by title only.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, Madam President, what I was doing is I made the motion so that we could, bring amendments for third reading. Yeah, I wasn't asking for third reading this evening. Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying that. Madam Clerk, on our next ordinance on second reading by title only, please.
An ordinance on second reading by title only. An ordinance vacating a portion of a public street and a portion of a public alley in the city of Michigan City, located north of Woodlawn Avenue between Winnipeg Avenue and Geneva Lake Avenue. And this is introduced by Mr. Prespolinski.
And this was advertised in the Herald Dispatch, April 22nd, 2026. Formal public hearing will be held on May 5th, 2026. Do the sponsor have any comments they'd like to make?
And Mr. McDonald gave a great explanation at the last council meeting. And I know that there have been some developments that have occurred since the last meeting. So if Mr. McDonald would like to go to the microphone and explain that to the council, I'd appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Prespolinski, Madam President. Very briefly, what I've requested is that the sponsor ask that this matter be tabled indefinitely. I received, as did the council, some input from Mr. York and Mr. Werner regarding some concerns concerning this petition and this proposed ordinance. Actually, interestingly enough, a representative from the Parks Department was here, and I had a chance to introduce myself and talk to him before the meeting. So to allow maybe some alternatives that might involve the Board of Works or some discussions that could take place between myself, Mr. Werner, Mr. York, and the Park Service, which is the adjoining property owner, I would ask that if Mr. Prespolinski would be so inclined to have this matter tabled indefinitely to allow my clients and I and all the players on behalf of the city and the park system to sit and talk. We may come back here at some point with a revised proposal or revised petition, or we may be able to resolve this without asking anything further from the council.
Okay. May I entertain a motion to have this ordinance tabled indefinitely?
Yeah, Madam President, I am making the motion that we table this ordinance indefinitely.
Support.
Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Mr. Coulter,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Dr. Poor,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Mollenhauer,
Aye.
Mr. Nelson,
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Beatry,
Aye.
9 in favor and 0 opposed.
Thank you. And this matter has been tabled indefinitely on this ordinance. Madam Clerk, if you would, our next ordinance by title only on second reading.
An ordinance on second reading by title only, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the Golf Non-Reverting Fund 2508 to fund salaries and wages at the Michigan City Municipal Golf Course. This is introduced by Mr. Dabney.
And this was advertised in the Herald Dispatch, April 22nd, 2026. A formal public hearing will be held on May 5th, 2026. Do the sponsor like to make any comments or any comment?
No, I think this has been pretty well explained regarding the use of a non-reverting fund and so forth. So I have no comments tonight.
Thank you. I will now open this up for a public hearing. The public hearing on this ordinance is now opened. Are there any comments from the public? Are there any comments from the public on this ordinance? Are there any comments from the public on this ordinance? This will be last call for public comments on this ordinance. Public comments on this public hearing are now closed. Any comments from the council? Are there any comments from the council? Any comments from the council? There are none. This ordinance will be carried over to on third reading. Madam Clerk, our next ordinance on second reading by title only.
An ordinance on second reading by title only, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the Rainy Day Fund to cover unfunded Public Employees Retirement Fund PERF contributions. This is introduced by Ms. Tillman, Mr. Beatry, and Mr. Dabney.
And do any other sponsor would like to make any comments on this ordinance? Oops, my apologies. This was advertised in the Herald Dispatch, April 22nd, 2026. Formal public hearing will be held on May 5th, 2026. What, any other sponsor like to make any comments? There are none. I will then open this up for public hearing. Any comments on this ordinance at this time? Yes, sir.
Ernie Holohan, 302
I'm sorry.
Street.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I didn't see him better. I don't understand why we're funding people that wasn't even eligible for the PERF. Why did they start paying them to begin with? I don't understand why we're continuing. I put 7.5 years in with the school system and I wasn't eligible for PERF. I had to have 10 years. I'm sure they had to have 10 years also.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
And John Carrington, 140 Esther Street again. Finally got the microphone up to my height. I just wanted to say that as we go through these proposed ordinances, things that we make sure that we know what we're asking about. I noticed the city attorney had to get up and explain the correspondence and petitions thing to y'all because we're not clear, and so I just want to make sure when we're taking really important things like this and this, I don't know much about it. I just know that some people apparently may not receive their pensions, and I want to make sure that y'all know exactly what you're voting about and what kind of questions you're asking, and really be informed and don't have to ask the city attorney to come up and explain or clarify. And like I said, I don't know anything about the situation, but I want to make sure y'all know about the situation. That's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you. Are there any other comments on this ordinance? Are there any other comments on this ordinance? I see no one online. I will now close public hearing. Any comments from the council? Councilman Prisbalinski?
Yeah, Madam President, I'd like to have third reading on this tonight.
Is there a second? May I entertain a second? There is no second. Motion dies. Are there any other comments, Councilman Beatrice?
I don't normally answer questions that were posed during the public comment, but I want to assure you, Mr. Carrington, that all members of the council had a exec session, and we are very well knowledgeable about what happened and how it happened and why it happened and why it won't happen again. So we know what we're doing.
Councilman Dabney.
Yes. And I just wanted to explain exactly what's here on paper. So I would not expound into personnel issues or anything like that. So what we're doing here with the $400,000 and the way that works is, and as everybody has read the ordinance here. So what we're having to fund as a city, the $400,000, as if the people had continued to work from whatever time they were separated from the city, we would have to have funded their PERF or their NPERS program throughout that time. So what they did at NPERS, not the city or anybody else, NPERS sent us some dollar amounts to say you would have still had to fund these amounts of money for these people if they had still been working. So that's the $400,000 that we're having to allocate with this ordinance. Like I said, I won't go into any personnel or talk about NPERS and anything like that. As I stated at the last meeting, this was identified, sent along, and now it is an NPERS thing. They are handling it on their end. We're no longer stepping into that, but they did alert us that we needed to fund what we would have been funding had the people, if it would have been funded correctly throughout those years. So now, once again, it is an NPERS issue, and they're dealing with the employees in that. So that's as far as I'll go because I don't want to violate any personnel issues or anything like that.
Councilwoman Moldenauer.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to make sure those of you who are here today and weren't here last time, this happened during a previous administration. It did not happen during this administration. It was discovered by staff who work here at City Hall it was discovered by staff who work here at City Hall. They immediately contacted the state and asked them what needs to be done about this because we found this and we're out of compliance. And the city took the recommendation of the state and gave the whole thing to them since it has to do with the state retirement fund. So again, this did not happen during this administration. It was a prior administration that this happened. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Moldenauer. Councilwoman Lee.
Thank you, Madam President. To follow up with Councilwoman Moldenhauer, it did happen between 2021 and 2023 to be specific on the time frame of that. Thank you.
If there are no other comments, this ordinance from the council, this ordinance will be held over for third reading. Madam Clerk, our next ordinance on third reading by title only, please.
An ordinance on third reading by title only, amending section 22-83 in the Michigan City Municipal Code, commonly known as the Building and Inspection Fee Waiver. And this is introduced by Mr. Beatry and Mr. Dabney.
And would the sponsors like to make any comments? Councilman Dabney.
Yes. First, I'd like to address something that happened earlier in the meeting. I didn't get a chance to say anything about it while we were on that ordinance. But we have never taken a vote to say that you're allowed to do amendments on third reading. Where this comes into play, if you've paid attention to our council meetings, during budgetary hearings and budget hearings, we've actually said we don't want to make any amendments on third reading due to timing. Because if we did make amendments on third reading, the controller's office would have to go and change our entire budget, which would then have to have a special meeting to vote on it. And then we would have to be able to submit that to make the deadline that the state has put upon us. So we actually came together and said, okay, we're not going to allow third reading amendments. And that's been budgetary issues. In my 10 years here, that's been the only time that we've actually put that stipulation into place. Is we've never voted to allow amendments on third reading, or have to vote to allow amendments on third reading. Those have been the only times that we've disallowed it. So leading into this, and that walks me right into this, because we have an amendment by substitution for this ordinance that we're talking about here in regards to the inspection fee waiver. And this was submitted to the rest of the council. I can't remember the exact date that this was put out. So it has been given proper notification to the council to consider this. And I will just talk about the amendment here that we're referring to. I have two different things here in the title: amending section 22-83 in the Michigan City Municipal Code, commonly known as the Building and Inspection Fee Waiver. The word "the" was taken out, was stricken from the title. And also, where we talked about the people who would, or the organizations that would be eligible for these waivers, we talked about Michigan City area schools, the public library, and not-for-profits engaged in the acquisition, creation, and construction or improvement of affordable housing. And after I read that, and I talked to Mr. Beatry about it, since he is the other sponsor on this, we started to say, well, we can go up to 50%, but we're trying to put something in here to protect ourselves. If we give somebody 10%, then we give another person only 30, and then we give somebody 50. That opens us up to say, okay, you're not treating everybody fairly. So with this amendment, what we're trying to do is say, if there's going to be an approval, that it will be 50%. There is no discretion of the council to say, okay, we're going to do 15 for one, 30 for another, and then 50 for the other. So that is what we're doing here in regards to these changes. So I want to make a motion that we accept these amendments as written.
Support.
Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
I'm sorry, did I need to allow for public comment before I did that motion? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry. I have to open that up. That would have been a point of order. My apologies. I will open this up now for public comments on this ordinance.
See if this is for the building inspection fees. Tommy Kolovic, 1316 Ohio Street. I know this is for the project that's going into the high school. I think a project that much, I think Mr. Williams said 126 million. They need to put that to a referendum. I'm sorry. I know the Lake Central School Corporation, which is Dyer, Sherrville, and St. John, they did a similar project. They pretty much reconstructed their entire high school campus. I think it was 100 million, and they had to pass a referendum to get that. So definitely. The other thing is the drug-free partnership of LaPorte County. They're going to put their men's rehab house at their place at Woodland and Cool Spring. No permit fees for the men's rehab. They're getting $750,000 from the county seated and opioid funding. They're getting $750,000 from the health Corporation LaPorte. They're getting a $220,000 donation in their land from the Franciscan Alliance. And they're getting almost $250,000 in construction and engineering fees from the Franciscan Alliance, which is basically Ton and Blank Construction. You know, Burl Bergwald always used to, they should change their name to Nunn and Blank Construction. No permit fee waivers for they're getting enough. We're pretty much strapped. So that's it.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments on this ordinance?
Ernie Hollahan, 302 Gladys Street. If I understand you right, you're only given 50%. It doesn't make sense to me. I think the school system needs more than that to finish their projects, because you know as well as I know that downstate has taken money from the city. They've taken money from the school systems. They hit the school systems every way they can. Last I understood, they've even taken over the schools down in Indianapolis, and they wanted to take over Gary, and Michigan City may be next. So they need this money. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments from the public? There's no one online. Public comments are now closed. Comments from the council. Councilman Dabney.
Yes, and now hearing public comment, I will go and make the motion to accept the amendments presented earlier before public comment.
Support.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Madam President, point of order. We didn't have council discussion after public comment.
But he made his motion. There's a motion on the floor, so I have to honor that. His light was on before yours.
Okay. We can still. Then do I get to speak then after he gets done with his motion?
You can.
Okay.
I'll allow that. Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
Dr. Cora.
Aye.
Ms. Lee.
Due to Michigan City Area Schools being my current employer, I will be abstaining for all votes for this ordinance.
Ms. Moldenauer.
Aye.
Mr. Nelson.
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski.
And just so I get the motion correct, this is so we can vote on the 50%, correct?
The amendment.
No, the amendment is to take out the discretion, because the way it was before said up to
So it's
50%.
automatically going to be 50% is what you're saying.
50% or nothing.
Okay. Nay.
Ms. Tillman.
Aye.
Mr. Beatry.
Aye.
Mr. Coulter.
Aye.
7 in favor and 1 opposed.
And this ordinance with the track copy of the amendments has passed.
Madam President?
And Councilman,
Yeah, can I have my time to express my opinion?
one moment. Attorney Snow, as you were stating.
You made a motion to approve amendments.
The amendments. Now-
So now you have to have your third reading of the motion as amended. Yes.
Madam Clerk, if you would read ordinance on third reading by title only with amendments.
An amended ordinance on third reading by title only, amending section 22-83 in the Michigan City Municipal Code, commonly known as the Building and Inspection Fee Waiver. And this is introduced by Mr. Beatry and Mr. Dabney.
And do the sponsors have anything they would like to say at this time? Councilman Beatry?
The reason why we amended this is because of a comment that I made at our last meeting about the slippery slope we were skiing on if we allowed discretion on how much percentage we would allow on this fee deduction. I know attorneys like to say arbitrary and capricious. And that's what we would have been hearing from attorneys of businesses that we did not give 50% to. If we gave 50% to anybody, they would all want 50 or want us to explain why they were only offered 20. So this eliminates that. It makes it very simple. You're a school system, you're the library, or you're a 501c3 that fits the criteria. If you are, you get 50%. If you aren't, you don't. And we're not in a position, I don't think, given what the public has said about what the city has done, or what the state has done to us, to waive 100% of fees for anyone anymore.
Thank you. I will open this up for public comment. Are there any public comments on this ordinance on third reading? Any public comments on this ordinance? Are there any public comments on this ordinance? We have no one online. Public comments are now closed. Comments from the council? Councilman Prisbalinski.
What my comment is, and I have no problem giving the Michigan City school system or any of the other mentioned organizations a break on the inspection fees. Where I'm looking at is, okay, if 50% is going to be a maximum threshold, then depending on what time of the year and what physical shape the city's in, how much money we can actually cut the fee by. The way I understand the fee for this project going on out at the high school now, it's going to be approximately $150,000 or somewhere in that neighborhood. That's what but anyway, so using that as an example, so we would be cutting their fee by $75,000 and we'd be getting $75,000. But if the city was in worse physical shape, which we got SB1 coming up, and we don't know what's going to be coming back from the state, that the city may not be able to give a break on at 50%. Maybe we'll give somebody a break at 30% or 35%. I've had discussions with the inspection department here, and just like when the county redid the county courthouse here, the city forgave the county the building fee construction fee on doing the work over there. And it was a huge, huge amount of money. But the inspection department was saying that they could use that money to hire people, to buy vehicles, and do that. Because that money goes into the city's general fund is where that money goes. And that's why I have no problem giving different organizations a break. I just think we need to have the latitude that we can decide where we want to have it. And if some council members think that that's too much of a problem to try to, we're giving these guys 20, but we're going to give them 10. If you don't want to do it, then don't vote on the ordinance when it comes in front of you. Let the other council members make the decision. Thank you.
Are there any other comments? I would just like to add, I believe that's the whole purpose of the ordinance. And as council members know, they already know what their duties and responsibilities are and how they choose to vote. That is their internal discretion on that. But to move forward, I agree and understand what Councilman Prisbalinski was indicating, but also if SB1, however that comes down the pipeline, that's the whole purpose of the council. We can go back and amend it to reflect or to justify, to support if we then have to reduce it from 50% and do the 20, 30, or 40, however that may need to be. So we still have that opportunity or or that as an option to do so. On this ordinance, may I entertain a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Support.
Madam Clerk on the vote, please.
Dr. Cora? Ms. Moldenhauer?
Aye.
Mr. Nelson?
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski?
Aye.
Ms. Tillman?
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice?
Aye.
Mr. Coulter?
Aye.
And Mr. Dabney?
Aye.
So 8 in favor, 1 abstain.
And this ordinance on third reading, amending section 22-83 in the Michigan City Municipal Code, commonly known as the Building and Inspection Fee Waiver, has passed. Madam Clerk, on new business?
FYI, Mayor Angie is requesting the advice and consent of the members of the Michigan City Common Council regarding her new appointment of Chuck Kraus to the Michigan City Port Authority Commission. Term begins immediately and expires April 12th of 2030.
Madam President?
So based on this recommendation from the mayor of appointment of Chuck Kraus, I would ask, is Mr. Chuck Kraus with us
No.
this evening? He is not?
No.
Okay. Then may I get a nomination to accept the consent?
I move that we grant consent to the mayor. For
Second.
Chuck Kraus.
Madam Clerk on the vote, please.
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Moldenhauer?
Aye.
Mr. Nelson?
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski?
Aye.
Ms. Tillman?
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice?
Aye.
Mr. Coulter?
Aye.
Mr. Dabney?
Aye.
Dr. Cora?
Aye.
9 in favor and 0 opposed.
And congratulations, Mr. Kraus. Madam Clerk, if you would, our next line of new business.
The FYI, the council has 1 appointment to the Sustainability Commission due to Julie Smith's resignation on April 18th, 2026. Term will begin immediately and will expire May 1st of 2027.
And do we have anyone that has turned in?
We have 4 applications on file.
Okay. Normally the 4 names would be listed, but could you just, if you have them with you, could you verbally just state those right now, please?
Dale Batts, Violet Worth, Shauna Hill.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that over, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
Dale Batts.
Did you say Gail?
Dale with a D. Violet Worth, Shauna Hill, and Cheryl Krasinski.
Cheryl. Okay. Can I open, Attorney Snow, can we not open up nominations on this evening just to nominate a person and vote at our next council?
Your rules on this, I believe, I got to dig down and find this, but I believe that the rules require that 2 meetings before an election, we talk about acceptance of nomination. Then you have to fill out a candidate's form. 1 meeting before the election meeting, then we make nominations, and then the next one we vote. And on this one, I think it looks like she resigned April 18th, which I believe was before our last meeting, but we didn't, I don't know, it wasn't on the agenda, so I don't know if we were made aware of that. So I would say this is kind of the first meeting since her resignation. So I think you're probably would be better suited to take nominations at the next meeting,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you for clarifying that, Attorney Snow. Next on our council agenda, Madam Clerk, do we have any unfinished business?
There's no unfinished business.
Okay. And we will now open this up for comments from the public. I ask if you come up front, please state your name and your address, and your allotted time is 3 minutes. Are there any public comments?
Yes, this is Tommy Kalavic from Michigan City. I just want to want to express my gratitude to Miss Mary Lynn for her servitude and her service to the city as our controller. I want to congratulate Miss Tamiko on her promotion to the controller of the city. You know, the Prominent Forage Farmers Market is going to begin May 28th, and got another council meeting before that, but if you want to go out and support, it's going to be right there, the same place, 8th and Washington, 8 a.m. to noon every Saturday through the end of September. You know, the thing is, you know where the farmer's market vendor, where he takes his equine if it gets sick, to Michigan City Health Franciscan Hospital.
Thank you. It's a topic. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Amy Lisinski. I live at 104 Mayfield Drive. I heard earlier today, I was not here for it, but Google apparently is donating $400,000 to another project. It would be interesting to know if they plan on repaying us back for paving Tryon and Royal Road, which is being destroyed as they keep hauling the big generators, I'm assuming, down that road. Right at the intersection of Royal and Tryon, I sent pictures to my representative earlier this evening, because you can see in a spot, and it's right where their tires line up after they have to do this crazy turn, the road is crumbling right there. I had to get stopped there again for 10 minutes. So apparently every time they bring a generator over there, they get 10 minutes to block the road. I had to be at a meeting at 4 o'clock today. It made me late, and there was no way to go around it at that time. The hauling of those generators destroying that road right now, and my FOIA that came back asking for all research prior to a verification letter ever allowing this there, the FOIA showed no research was done. Research should have been done to see if stuff like Royal Road could handle these types of loads. That seems like complete negligence prior to this project ever being allowed. Google can give all the money they want to start buying people off and say, hey, look at us, we're great. No amount of money is worth the health of us in Ward 6. And furthermore, going into a little bit of that from our last meeting, just got to pull this up. At the last council meeting, remarks were made commenting how the council and reminding the public that you guys were not responsible for the data center resolutions, but a negotiating team. And this is partially true. Yes, there apparently was a negotiating team, and they were responsible for the terrible resolutions. But the council sitting before me was responsible for passing them. In not one of the meetings did you guys look at and discuss the contents to what was in those resolutions. I watched this council spend more time on the smoking ordinance and debating than debating an actual data center. Yeah, you had your meetings, but you never sat there in front of the public eyes and said, this should be in or this should be out. When it came to that passing, it solely rested on your guys' hands. You guys could have stopped it and said, we don't want to pass the resolutions. So I just wanted to clarify that from public comments that were made last time. My last thing still goes to communication. You guys talk about being transparent, but some of you guys are really picking and choosing what you want to reply to. It seems like it's pointless to email some of you guys because you guys don't reply. General comments here, you'd either pick or choose what you're going to reply to. I've been trying to get a hold of my ward representative for the past 6 weeks. Conveniently, I get a reply always on the day of the meeting of I mean to talk to you, but I'm sorry. But then I get ignored for the next 2 weeks. That's unacceptable. I really, really hope that you kind of look at that and just say, because as you're trying to talk about, different changes and stuff, setting guidelines for having to respond or answer to people, because we get our comment time here or we can email you. And I understand this is not question and answer, and I respect that. But my point is, where is the question and answer? Where do we get answers to our questions if you guys are going to ignore us? So I hope you can take that into consideration.
Thank you.
Ooh, that was good. Ernie Hollahan, 302 Gladys Street. I want to thank Michigan City Fire Department. They were very well responded on my rental property next door to me at 6:30 in the morning. Unfortunately, it was on fire. So it did burn quite a bit, but they did get it put out. And it didn't come over to my house because that house is very close to mine. It could very well, if they wouldn't have responded as fast as they had. Could very well come over and on my house, but it didn't, and they saved a portion of it. It's going to cost my insurance quite a bit to bring it back up to code to rent again. But unfortunately, that's a mishap on me. I've had a few of them this week. It's not been very good this week. But I was out at Myers, and inside their fence is totally cluttered with paper, bags, paper, and also outside the fence. It's disgusting for a driver to drive down and see that. And people driving around town throwing their big garbage bags out. There's one at the corner of Cleveland and 20, a big black bag of garbage laying right over there on the side of the road. I've seen another one, I don't remember where it was. It was a white bag of garbage laying out. It's disgusting. People go around throwing litter out, throwing garbage out. There's no respect for the city anymore. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments at this time? Any other public comments? There's no one online. I will now close public comments at this time. Comments from the council. Councilman Przybylski.
Yeah, I want to thank the street department and the refuse department, and I believe that they're done with the citywide cleanup now, and I think they did a fantastic job. I think things are better this year than they were last year, so we're making improvements. And Google, I want to thank Mr. Green and Google for the additional $400,000 to complete the destination playground. Whether you like Google or not, and I've had my questions about them or not, but they are here and they are a business to stay here, and appreciate everything they can do to improve our quality of life here in Michigan City. Thank you.
Councilman Dabney.
Yes. A little bit earlier when I was speaking, we had an outburst, and it was someone, and I understand the way they felt about the example that I used. They said that example that I gave was ridiculous. And I made that example ridiculous intentionally, and here's the reason why. And this was before any law was passed about bringing on correspondence and everything like that. And this goes back to COVID times. When I was actually in favor of let's shut down all parks, let's shut it all, because we didn't know what COVID was, right? So we were very unsure as to the effects and what could happen. And somebody, they were actually from Missouri, saw that I was in support of shutting everything down. And someone sent in a death threat for me. And it, like I said, before any laws were passed, but the city controller actually, I mean, not the city controller, the city clerk actually, called me, told me about it, and said, no, she's not putting that up as correspondence, on our agenda. And I believe it was Michael Mack, Councilman Michael Mack, who was president at the time, and he actually signed off on that. So my example was out there to the extreme and quote unquote ridiculous, because I had something ridiculous before, where somebody sent a death threat. I don't know how they got the information all the way from Missouri to send that in to us. But like I said, there were no laws passed at the time. And the city clerk actually said, no, I'm not putting that out there. And the president at the time also supported that. So I know there will be other correspondence that will come in, and they'll be talking in particular about the data center and everything like that. And I can't see us stopping those from coming. There's going to be correspondence about some other things as well. But that one was, in my mind, ridiculous, just as my example was when I brought that up. And I want to end on a positive note. I participated in a program run by the Michigan City area schools. They had what was called an ambassador program. I can't remember how many people participated in the whole thing. 28. And so they had 28 people come in, and they actually were taken around to different areas of the Michigan City area school system, food services. We talked about finances. And we were all over the place. And they were basically showing us what's going on with Michigan City area schools. And I have worked at Michigan City area schools, and I still didn't know some of the things and the work that they put in to make that school system work. I was very proud to see, and people laugh when I said at the last meeting, one of the most impressive things I saw was food service. I did not know they would be there at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, receiving food, dispersing out to all of the schools. It was a huge operation. So sometimes Michigan City area schools, a lot of times Michigan City area schools gets negativity, and it was awesome to see the care of the people who were involved with all these different departments. The teachers that we met, we went into their classes while they were teaching the classes. The Little Wolves Daycare Center, we had a chance to go see that as well. So there were a lot of good things happening with Michigan City area schools. And I wanted to point that out. I hope other people, I know they're going to run that program again, and I hope some people do sign up for that ambassador program, because it is very enlightening and eye-opening to some of the things that's happening in the background that you don't hear about Michigan City area schools. So I wanted to point that program out, and it was something, it was a real sight to see, and I was proud that they put that ambassador program on it and allowed me to participate.
Excuse me, Attorney Snow. Is it possible, without calling a recess, am I allowed to have the vice president, and that can finish the public comments?
Yes.
Thank you.
As we were saying, Councilwoman Molnauer.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I do want to report that I did attend the LaPorte County Plan Commission hearing last week on the data ordinance that they're pulling together. I did testify and offered suggestions to strengthen their regulations and guidelines to the ordinance that it looks like they're going to pass tomorrow morning by the LaPorte County Commission. It's based on the ordinance that was passed by Lake County. It's strong, but it's missing certain things. So I did make recommendations regarding things like light pollution, sound, and also a couple other things. 10 a.m. tomorrow, Wednesday, if you're able to be at the LaPorte County complex, please be there. They're going to pass it, but what they need to be encouraged to do is to send it back to the Plan Commission to edit it and then make it stronger and correct some of the mistakes that they have in it. So I'm now spending most of my time being proactive and looking at ways that we can protect people that live in LaPorte County and also in the state of Indiana from what unfortunately happened here in Michigan City. Also, I am making a formal request that we actually, as a city council, renegotiate with Google what they're responsible for regarding the data center and also regarding the tax abatement that we granted to them, because we now know who the end user is and how big they are. And I think this is the only fair thing to do to help protect my residents who live in Ward 6, and also to get a fair deal for Michigan City as a whole, and also hopefully get some monies for our Michigan City area schools like LaPorte was able to do. So I don't know how to go about doing this, but this seems the way to move forward since we know who our partner is now. And then I just want to reemphasize what Mayor Angie said before, that the Earth Month extravaganza was a huge success this year. We had 500 attendees. That's up 100 participants from last year. and we had over 25 organizations participate. The tables were unbelievable, very interactive, very hands-on. We had children, we had elders there. It was just a really wonderful day. And I want to give a shout out to our former Sustainability Commission member and former chair, who's now our volunteer coordinator for this event. My hat goes off to Andy Jans Davis for doing this each of the 5 years that this has happened. And each year it's bigger and better and more interesting and more exciting. Thank you.
Dr. Cora?
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to comment on what Councilman Dabney said about the unusual communication they got from Missouri during COVID. And I realize that there are some people like that, and the political violence is really on the rise. We have seen it. But at the same time, I would say that the system worked. The clerk was, city clerk was able to bring it to the council president, and they were able to remove that. And I think whatever happens to this ordinance, but I think the system should work, and such crazy things should not come in communications. Thank you.
Councilman Beatrice?
I'd just like to say it was my pleasure late last week, to attend a groundbreaking off of Cleveland Ave. Congratulations to Holiday Property Developers. They're building another building there. It's going to be called the Aldridge Building. It's off Cleveland Ave, just west of the Haskell Building, which they currently own. It's another great opportunity to add space for light manufacturing and logistics. It's a boost to workforce development. The Haskell Building, which they built earlier, is full now, and Aldridge will be next. So congratulations, and it's another plus for Michigan City.
Thank you. Councilman Coulter?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to second Brian Dabney's comments about the ambassador program. It was a really awesome experience for me as well. We've all gone to high school, but like it's nice to revisit that as an adult. And everybody was coming from a different perspective too. So parents or council members or other people in the community were there. And so they were sharing their perspectives, which gets you to think about it differently. Because if you're just sitting around with your own perspective, that's not very helpful. And then I also really wanted to congratulate Councilman Dabney on his Perfect Attendance Award. Not everybody got those. And then lastly, I wanted to ask Attorney Snow a really quick question, or just in general about Robert's Rules of Order, because I'm under the impression that once there's a motion and a second, that opens up a spot for debate and discussion that we haven't been doing. So for example, when we had the DORA resolution ordinance, we had that on second reading, and then there was a very quick move to get that onto third reading. And we didn't have an opportunity for discussion, and that was very frustrating, because then we ended up sitting around trying to figure out how to take it back to second reading. And if we had had that respect for the rules of Robert's Rules of Order, as I am led to understand that they work, where it's a motion, second, discussion, and then a vote, that would clear that up. So just asking if that's the usual order as I believe it.
It does, because we addressed this maybe 2 council meetings before in regards to that, and normally yes, that can occur. So, but as soon as they put that motion out there, you got your second, but it should be before that motion. If I'm not correct, but you can correct me on this, Attorney Snow. Before that motion goes, when it comes back for council and your comments, you can have your comments and we can debate on that before we make a vote. Because if you have any additional information, then that can determine how you choose to vote at that time.
I'll go with that for now. Yeah.
Okay. But I adhere again to the Attorney Snow. Was there any other comments from any other council members? If there are none, may I entertain a motion to adjourn? Thank you and have a good evening.